Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Abundantly Aware. I'm your host, Katie, here again with another episode. I'm so glad you're here. If you can tell, there's a little reverberation in my voice because I am a little sick. So, welcome back. Something that came to my attention today while I was searching for the topic of today's podcast in the recesses of my mind was make it a no-brainer. My journaling practice teaches me so much about everything in my life, aside from journaling in general. And journaling is a no-brainer for me. I come back to the pages regardless of the time of day. If I miss journaling in the morning, then I journal in the afternoon. And if I miss journaling in the afternoon, I journal in bed right before I drift off into dreamland. And journaling is a no-brainer for me. So why can't podcasting be? Or insert this one thing that you really want to get done, but you're avoiding it. Because I know that there are a lot of those things. It's more than just podcasting for me. But journaling for me didn't start as something easy. It didn't start into a no-brainer. It didn't start as being a no-brainer for me. It turned into a no-brainer. And there are about 3 things that I attribute to making it so much easier for me to journal. Those are creating the physical reminder of your journal, removing the pressure of journaling, and making it easy to follow through journaling. I want to tell you a little bit about my journaling practice and how all of these 3 things show up for me. But also, I want to talk to you about how I'm going to move it into podcasting so that maybe, just maybe, if there's that one thing that you really want to do, this will help you do it. So let's start with the first one, creating a physical reminder. So for me, my physical reminder is my journal. I have a 5-star journal, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to pick it out for you and show you. Here it is. This is brand spanking new. I will be starting it tomorrow because I literally just finished the last page of my last journal this morning. But I have a 5-star and it lives in plain sight. You can't tell that it's a 5-star because I've put stickers all over it to make it just a little bit prettier. That's the vibe I go for instead of a perfect notebook. And it lives in plain sight all of the time. It lives on my dining room table or on my office desk, which you can't see, but I'm staring right at, or on my bed. And it's always there staring at me, reminding me that I need to journal. And for podcasting as it currently stands, I do already have a reminder. This mic, it's transfixed to my desk in this small corner of my bedroom that I call my office. I can detach it, as you can see, if you're again watching this video. There's I don't even know what this is called, mic bar. It is attached to my microphone, and then I could detach my microphone and put it on its actual stand, but I don't. And you can also take this off, but I won't, just in case something goes awry. But it takes too much time for me to disassemble this whole thing. I just take it off of its little stand here, and I usually leave it on my chair when I go to bed because walking around this thing is a little cumbersome. But tearing it down every single week is just too much for me, so I don't. And so it lives as a constant physical reminder that there's a podcast that has to be filmed. And it works, and it has this whole entire time. So whatever it is that you want to do so desperately that you're not doing, create that physical reminder, even if it's just like a sticky note that you draw something on to remind you, or you write words on to remind you, and you stick it at the front of your desk, or you stick it on the front of a drawer to remind you that you want to come back to this space and that you want to do this thing. Physical reminders for me are so helpful. And I realized how helpful they were this year specifically when I created a wall full of sticky notes with little notes on them like optimism works in mysterious ways, or people remember how you make them feel, and things like that, to remind me to stay positive and to remind me to stay optimistic for this year, because that's one of my words. But those physical representations are so helpful for my brain. So if they are helpful for you, I suggest you try something, even just the smallest thing. So the next thing that helps me along this journey is to remove the pressure And I know that some things are just different. And putting yourself out there is more different, more difficult, much more difficult than writing in your journal where no one's listening or forming an opinion about you. But I want you to hear me out here. I release the pressure to make it pretty and perfect. Gone are the days of trying to bullet journal. I don't do that. Or write in the most beautiful notebook in the land. Like, it's just not something that I do. And I allow myself the ability to scribble or to draw or to make mistakes, spelling or otherwise. And I can use a color pen or a black pen with ink, and the smudges that come with being a left-handed person, sometimes there's ink on my pinky, are always welcomed. Not only that, but the pressure to make it 3 pages is gone. I've talked about this before, whether it be on Instagram or otherwise. I've talked about the 3 pages, that it's gone around the internet that you should be journaling for 3 pages. No. 1 page is perfect. 1 paragraph is perfect. 1 line is perfect. You journal today in the way that you were able to show up. 3 pages is not the only way to transform your life. It's not the only way to see the perfect, see the wonderful. I don't want to say perfect. See the amazing things that journaling can bring you. And I think the same thing goes for this podcast. My bare minimum is going to be 1 podcast episode a week. 2 episodes, of course, is a happy celebration for me, but I will be here Thursday or Friday. But regardless, you will see me or hear me if you're listening on a podcast platform. And even today when I'm sick, because I am sick, you can probably tell in my voice, I release the pressure for each episode to be perfect or to follow any kind of rules. Awareness is for everything. Awareness is for everything. I release it all. Awareness that I have many perfectionism tendencies, and I'm aware of those things and not going to let that stop me. So that's what I'm going to do for the podcast going forward. So you will see me every single day, or every single week, sorry. You will see me every single week. I will still be here in your ears. And some days, some weeks, you'll get a happy little surprise of a second one. All right. And the final and third thing that I realized that helped me in my journaling consistency and is going to help me in my podcasting consistency, continue, is making it an easy follow through. This is the piece that I'm missing for my podcast. I know I am, but is absolutely clear as day for my journaling practice. I set a pen across the rings of my journal. You can see here, hopefully you can see, and it lives there all the time in the rings of my journal. So there's literally nothing in the way of me journaling. And if I find that my pen is close to being out, that usually happens in the middle of the process. So I just go out and I grab another pen and I continue the process. Or I say, okay, that's cool, I'm going to stop for the day, but I grab a pen for the next day. There's always a pen. There's always a working pen in my journal. So I can't make an excuse because all the components to journaling are there. It's easy. And if you don't like journaling in a physical notebook and you prefer to journal in an app, put it on your front screen, making it easy, click away for you to start journaling that day or any day. And when it comes to my podcast, I don't have a list of titles or topics to choose from at all. I'm winging it. As you can tell from last week's episode and this week's episode, I'm completely winging it. I'm starting at ground zero and I just stare into the abyss of a blank page before I outline. And I find that having a multitude of ideas, a plethora of ideas, is actually a slippery slope for me because I get task overwhelm when there's way too much choice. I know that about myself. I'm aware of that about myself. I am almost positive that's an ADHD thing, or maybe it's just a Katie thing, who knows? But starting today, I'm going to choose 10 topics per month. So all I have to do is just create 10 at the top of the month. This way I can float around and choose the topic that most appeals to me at that time. And I also know that if I post 2 per week, then I should have 2 ideas remaining at the end of the month. to either move on to the next month or the next month or the next month. And because I find that once I have that topic, once I have that one sentence chosen for me, like nothing can stop me from finishing the outline. It just happens. I just read the sentence and I go on. And I know that if I had many episodes already outlined, filming multiple of these in one day would be so much easier for me. I know that the beginning part is the outline. And if I had a bunch of topics to choose from, so that one day I could just choose to write 3 outlines, then I'd have 3 outlines. Then the next day I could film 3 podcast episodes, if you think about it. And I want to be more prepared. I want to have more episodes out. So I don't necessarily have to do this all the time. But I'm excited to see how that helps me along the way to making this a no-brainer, making this podcast a no-brainer for me. I want you to go through this episode. You can even listen to it again and see how you can integrate these tips for the tasks that you're avoiding, even though you really want to get them done. And my fellow ADHDers, if you have anything else you do to make tasks a no-brainer or easier, when you actually enjoy it, of course, because let's be honest, if you don't enjoy the task, it's almost near impossible to do them. And these tips don't really work for those things, but please, please, please leave me a comment below. But with all that being said, that's it for this episode of Abundantly Aware. And if you resonated with this episode in any way, I'd love for you to stick around and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast episodes. And until next time, let's become abundantly aware together. Bye.